In Gabon, with 3 days to go until the presidential election of April 12, 2025, the Special Commission responsible for receiving and supervising election observers is busy holding a number of strategic meetings. The most recent of these was held on 4th April, chaired by Aimé Roger Moulungui Maganga, as part of the overall arrangements for regulating the elections. Articles 124 to 129 of Organic Law on Number 00/2025 of 19 January 2025 on the Electoral Code provides for impartial observation of the ballot and greater transparency in the electoral process. Institutions are only as good as the people who run them, and no human work is perfect. We are fighting to do things right. We hope that this committee will overcome any limitations that may arise. We want it to do the right thing with respect for the people of Gabon. Affirming and demonstrating its commitment to electoral transparency and integrity, a key issue for this election, the outcome of which will determine Gabon's political future, the government nevertheless reaffirmed the separation of roles between the electoral administration and the observation missions in accordance with the Electoral Code.
Et on l'en espère bien que tout se passera dans les règles de l'art, dans le respect.
We need to sell this democracy, which needs to be gradually established so that the Gabonese people can be an example to follow after an election without bloodshed.
Celui, c'est-à-dire ce peuple gabonais, soit celui qui va l'emporter dans le respect.
To increase their impact, the observers signed 2 key documents, the Code of Conduct and a Pledge of Honor. These 2 documents formalize their role as outsiders to the process, both with a heavy moral and civic responsibility. In his vision of society, former Prime Minister Alain Claude Bilie-By-Nze wants to bring about a break with the past and a new independence for Gabon if he is elected President of the Republic on the evening of 12 April 2025. The presidential candidate has made his election campaign a grassroots campaign, and Bilie-By-Nze's grassroots campaign puts him in touch with the reality in which the people of Gabon live. In his vision for society, Bilie-By-Nze wants to put in place a new form of governance for public management in Gabon. Current governance by the military is characterized by approximations, by favoritisms, because we have qualified promotion and appointment as crony, rascal, and consanguine. It is characterized by an absolute lack of transparency, by flagrant violations of the law, including in the area of public contracts, where private companies are awarded state contracts without a call for tenders, without any competition. It's a scandal. We need to put an end to these and move towards more responsible governance that respects the Gabonese law and international standards. Alain Claude Bilie-By-Nze highlights the 12 priority projects that he intends to carry out during his first 100 days in office if he is elected Supreme Magistrate. These 12 priorities include the new social contract with a monthly allowance of 150,000 francs CFA for citizens with no income. We are going to give 150,000 francs CFA to people with no income. We are implementing this measure firstly because Gabon is a rich country with a GDP of $9,000 per capita, which means that every Gabonese should be able to live decently. The issue today is the inequalities between those in charge, those at the top, who are a small class and who monopolize all the country's wealth, and the majority. With regards to Gabon's indebtedness, which stood at 55.2% of GDP in December 2024, Alain Claude Bilie-By-Nze is clear that this is below CEMAC standards, which cap public debt at 70% of GDP. We are going to put things right, make sure that we have room to maneuver, reschedule certain points of this debt, restructure it so that we have budgetary margins and finance operations on one hand, but above all finance development. But one of the problems with Gabon's debt today is that we use it to finance civil servants' salaries. This is not appropriate, and we need to return to CEMAC standards in this area. Gabon's economic transformation, the high cost of living, youth, and many other concerns that are close to the hearts of the Gabonese people, candidate Alain Claude Bilie-By-Nze promises to find definitive solutions if he is elected head of state on the evening of 12 April 2025. The Congo Basin plays a vital role in regulating the global climate by storing between 25 and 30% of the planet's carbon and is also an essential habitat for a rich biodiversity. Thanks to its forest cover, which extends over 87% of its territory, Gabon has significant carbon stocks, which are helping to mitigate climate change at the global level. However, Gabonese experts are critical of the reoccurrence of flooding in the country over the past 10 years. According to a study published by the Institute of Research in Tropical Ecology, Libreville lost around 23% of its forest cover between 2001 and 2023. We live on a planet where carbon emissions are particularly high, often due to the measure developed in emerging countries. And there are other countries like ours that have a virtuous environmental attitude that sequesters the carbon that is also emitted by others. In 2023, a study conducted by the Environmental Geosciences Research Center revealed that the damage caused by flooding in Gabonese capital resulted in economic losses estimated at nearly 20 billion francs CFA, not counting the loss of human life and the forced displacement of populations. Our country is recognized as one of the best environmental players on the planet. We have an environment that is being preserved sooner. From this point of view, I will say that the environment is doing well. If we take our country of our capital as a benchmark, yes, there are efforts that need to be made. There are a certain number of things that we observe that can be improved. But we have policies that we are trained to implement both nationally and internationally. Gabon is one of the countries most sensitive to the impact of climate change. This is why the country is banking on the low carbon development model. In line with these objectives, the predominantly forested Central African country has already taken steps to adjust its governance strategy, notably by implementing a green tax framework. Gabon, with its vast mineral resources, remains one of Africa's leading players in the mining sector. In the third quarter of 2024, manganese production reached 2 million tons, up 4.5% in the same period in 2023, according to the Ministry of the Economy. This dynamic reinforces the strategic role of the Central African country in the sub-regional raw materials economy. To date, the mining sector has not played a predominant role in the Gabonese economy, being limited essentially to the contribution of manganese to the economy. However, it represents a key lever for establishing Gabon as a dynamic economy on the African continent by diversifying its resources, investing in infrastructure and optimizing policies to attract investors. Once a candidate is elected president of the Republic of Gabon, the country will not only boost its economic growth, but also become a model of a modern and sustainable economy in the region. With regard to oil, production reached 230,000 barrels per day in March 2024, the highest level since 2020. Marketed natural gas also rose by 3.7% in the third quarter of 2024, following the technical recovery. This performance is attributed to Compagnie Minière de l'Ogooué, an Eramet subsidiary, which produced 1.9 million tons in the first quarter of 2024, up 76% compared with the same period in 2023. Several strategic factors have played a major role in this transformation, in particular, the diversification of resources that are currently unexploited, such as gold, copper, and iron. This diversification will significantly increase the country's production and exports, reducing its dependence on hydrocarbons and boosting the resilience of its economy. Gabon also has gold deposits that are still underexploited. Although recent data is limited, the government is encouraging gold exploration and mining in order to further diversity in the mining sector. These initiatives are aimed at attracting foreign investment and stimulating the country's economic growth.